Hello.
Hello, everyone. We wanted to pop on and hi, is Mama talking? We wanted to pop on and talk a little bit about Hanukkah. So we were actually planning a whole different video because we were going to go to a big Hanukkah party that our friend is having. But the weather turned not so great, and driving in the mountains with inclement weather is not very smart.
And actually shut down the road.
Yeah, the road we were gonna go down ended up being closed. Yeah, so the road was closed, so we couldn't have even really gone down.
No.
Because we can't get through. Oh, we would have probably made it down.
Yeah, we would have just had to go a different route. There's another way to go around, but it's about the same distance time-wise, but a little bit longer overall.
But even then, it's still not a good idea to be driving with
7 children.
7 children in the snow.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, our friend that we were going to go see before the party, one of her kids got sick. So we decided instead we were going to switch it up. We had to be flexible. And we're doing our Hanukkah video for you guys here at our house.
Yep.
And so I was going to tell you a little bit about why we celebrate Hanukkah and why it's important to us. We've had a lot of people say, like, are we trying to be Jewish, or are we trying to, you know, why don't we believe in Yeshua and all that kind of stuff? So we thought he's very busy. You're very busy. And you're very busy.
His nap got cut really short.
Yeah, he got woke up from his nap early. So he's very wound up. So the cool thing about Hanukkah is, number one, it mentions that Yeshua in, I think it's John. I should look that up, but my Bible's across the room. I believe it's John 10, that Yeshua was at the temple during I'll put the reference in the description box below. It doesn't say he was celebrating it, but it says he was there at the temple during during the time of the Feast of Dedication. So Hanukkah is also, it means in Hebrew dedication. So so he doesn't say it's bad. And the cool thing about Hanukkah, the story of it, is back in the time, they call it like the time of silence between Malachi and when Yeshua came on the earth. There was not really a whole lot of stuff happening. And so during that time, the Greek Empire came and and Antiochus, I believe is the name of the king. Antiochus came and he decided he was just as important as God, or he was God.
Godlike complex.
Yeah, he had a godlike complex.
Yeah.
And he put his image on a statue of Zeus and put that in the temple, in Yah's temple. And so they also roasted a pig on the altar of the Lord. And God calls pigs an abominable flesh. So not that the animal itself is an evil, horrible animal, because it was created by God, but but its flesh and eating its flesh and cooking its flesh
on the altar
is an abomination. It's what Daniel actually, in the book of Daniel, calls the abomination of desolation, or something, abomination of desolation. I think that's what it's, the way he says it. And so the abominable act. And so sacrificing a pig on an altar that for Yah would have been considered the most egregious, I can't even say that word, egregious, how do you say that word? Egregious, there we go, act that you could do. And so all the Jews, they weren't allowed to You see yourself. They weren't allowed to celebrate. They weren't allowed to keep Torah. They weren't allowed to
circumcise.
They weren't allowed to keep Shabbat. Pretty much any of the Torah laws, they weren't allowed to keep it. They weren't allowed to keep their festivals for God. And then there was this guy, Yehuda Maccabee in Hebrew, and it means the hammer. He came and decided, you are just getting my face. He came and refused to bow down to Antiochus. He refused to worship the sun god, and he kicked the Greeks out of the temple, and they...
His 5 sons?
It was his brothers.
5 brothers?
Yeah. And they kicked the Greeks out of the temple, and they rededicated the temple for God. And so that way they could take and start sacrificing the daily sacrifices
like
to
they
God.
used to.
Yeah. There's the morning sacrifice and then the evening sacrifice in the temple. So that couldn't be done until the temple had been dedicated, which takes and cleansed, which takes, I think it's 8 days or 7. I think maybe it's 7 days. I should probably look this up. 7 days of cleansing, and then they were able to start on the 8th day. So that's why there's 8 days of Hanukkah. And so we use it as a time to rededicate our own selves and our own hearts back to our God. So that is why we celebrate Hanukkah. And we're going to show you some of our own Hanukkah celebration from this evening.
So why do you guys celebrate Hanukkah?
Or do you celebrate Hanukkah?
Yeah. Or have you thought about it? Maybe this is something that will inspire you to look into it.